Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to a video where I'm going to go over just finding the likely draw on liquidity for price. Looking where price will likely deliver towards any given session. This is just off the top. I'm going to pick a random point in time and just go on the 1 hour. I'm only going to even use one time frame. I'm limiting myself to one time frame, one pair, only MNQ. I could use NQ, but that chart already has a bunch of things, annotations on it. So I'm going to MNQ, no ES. So I'm limiting myself completely down to one time frame. If I had to use one time frame, how would I analyze the markets? So just gonna pick a random point in time. There we are, right there. That's what I picked. All right. Off the bat, what do I see here from this point? At first, equal highs catch my attention. We have those right there, very, very visible. We have this low right here. So two areas that are quite visible to me already off the bat that I'm pointing out. Now I want to look, and I'm gonna just look at this point and say, what's the state of delivery right now? Well, clearly the state of delivery right now is bearish. You're starting to see that bearish price action, but we could be starting to see a shift in price. You're starting to see that we are consolidating. So I want to wait till we head into the next day, head into the AM session, and then from that point, I'll get a bit more context as to what I'm looking for. So 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Okay, so from this point, what do we see here? Well, two gaps here formed. None of them got retested. Two breakaway gaps formed, as well as inversing this gap right here. All right, off the bat, clearly, to me, we left these equal highs, showed no willingness to take this high, formed a gap here, inversed it, formed two bearish gaps in the process, didn't want to retest either, two breakaway gaps. So for me, heading into this session, limiting myself to one time frame, I would like to see this low tapped into at the very least, and then potentially this one as well. So we'll just do something like this. We'll just put it here because whatever. That's what I want to see. We'll see if we get it heading into the session. Heading lower, not yet taking that low. Something that you don't want to see. Still from this point, not phased at all. Bearish gaps here respected. This IFEG respected. So my bias would maintain for the day. I want to see these lows. So low one tapped into, and I want to see this low as well. There we go. So the draws were tapped. This was a manipulation leg. Went, filled this bearish gap right here. Wicks outside of the IFEG, respected the IFEG, and came to the low that I wanted to see. So there is that. So let's go. We'll wait till we approach the next day, and then we'll use that context and see what I'm looking for from that point. Alright, so what do we have here? Hold on. Alright, so here's the hour. We had some news definitely this day. Took this low. We have this low here that was formed yesterday, previous day low. We have this low that was swept. Then once that low got swept, we came and swept this high right here. This high right here was swept. Bearish gap here respected. Alright. So, bearish gap here respected, midpoint respected, sweep the high here, and then continue lower. For me, it's pretty clear. We're definitely coming to retest this low right here. That's what I want to see. Still fine. To me, it's still valid, and we come and retest this gap. Once again, this is just me. Obviously, I wouldn't take that trade, so to speak. I'm just showing you what I would be targeting as my draw. We come back into this gap. Again, manipulation leg. Not worried about it once more. The draw is here to me, very clear. That's what I want to see, and we get it. The state of delivery is bearish, and everything is showing that we want to head lower. So there we go. So 2 for 2 on the draws there, tapped into. Let's then, we got a new week here now. Just gonna do a bit more of this and just show you what I'm seeing, what I'm thinking. All right, let's move these equal highs here farther. What did we do? One, swept this high. We have these lows here. What do we have here? Bullish gap here. Oh, inversed. bearish gap here, respected. Bearish gap here, breakaway gap. We took this low. We have one more hour. I just want to see. And upon taking this low, the next hour really showed little to no rejection. It showed no willingness to head higher from that point. So what do I see? Okay. Came, tried to potentially head higher, took this high, respected, displaced lower, formed this bearish gap respected, disrespected bullish gap, IFEG right here. Then we have a bearish gap here, formed another gap here, breakaway gap. Okay. Very clearly, again, once more, I want to see this low for the day. And there it is. That's what I wanted to see. That's what we got. And so that would be my draw heading into that session. Again, we're going to head into yet another day. See what we get. And then we'll analyze from there. All right. What do we have here? Internal sweep. Internal sweep right here. One bearish gap here inversed. One bearish gap here inversed. Bullish gap here. That did not get retested. Breakaway gap there. That is a bullish gap. Then we have two bearish gaps here that still have not been tested. And we have a potential breaker you can make the case for right here. You can make the case for that. Hold on. This being a breaker. It's a sloppy one, but you can make the case. If you scale to other time frames, you could find that. So, what am I seeing here? Let me just look. From this point, what do we have here? Any significant highs or lows? I don't think this low got tapped into, so I'm just gonna use it to check, but I do not think it got tapped into. No, it didn't. Okay. So generated liquidity, swept liquidity, inverse this bearish gap, formed a bullish gap, breakaway gap, inverse another bearish gap, and then formed, you can make the case for a breaker here. All right. This is one of those days where I'm actually bullish. Heading into the session, I want to see us potentially come test this unfilled gap. And if we continue past it, then I would look towards highs. Now we have one more hour. See if something changes. All right. So again, this would be a morning that I would likely wait for this low to be tapped, and then I'd make a case. So wait for one more hour. We got it. Took this high also as well. But if I had to point to a draw, my draw would edge towards coming to fill this gap here. And we have this high here as well. So that's where I would lean towards. I wouldn't be extremely confident. This is one of those draws that I'm not entirely confident. Like I could put my stop here, but yeah, whatever. Okay, yeah. So if I had to move my stop, I would either move it to the midpoint here, just below the midpoint, or something here. But obviously I wouldn't take a trade like this, but what I do want to see is this high. So here, we'll move it to below this midpoint, below the midpoint. I'll move it to roughly the bottom quadrant. And what I want to see is price start heading higher to fill this gap. If I'm wrong, I told you this is one of those days I'm not entirely confident. And there you see exactly why. So again, now we'll see it from this gap. Does it want to head higher? You're starting to see, okay, maybe it does want to head higher to this draw. That would be my draw still. It would still remain valid for me. I still would want to see this drop, but we'll see. And you can see that heading into the PM session, we headed higher. But again, like I said, this was a day that I told you I was not very certain about the draw, and I didn't like it. And sure enough, that was the day I got it wrong. Let's move on to the next day. See what we're getting from this point. All right. Instantly, my eyes pop out here. Took this high, digging into, well, two bearish gaps here. Didn't tap into this one. It respected the midpoint of this one. We have this here. We have this here. So if I had to pick what I like right now, the order flow is still bearish overall. You're not seeing much bullish price action. Respect the midpoint. Came higher. Okay, I would like to see us come and fill this bullish gap. That's where I would lean towards. So we would, right here, I would target right there. That's what I would want to see. And if I'm wrong, well, I'll just put my stop right above here. Obviously, this wouldn't be a trade I take, right? This is not a trade I would take. It's just where I want to see price head towards. And sure enough, the draw that I want to see. In fact, now I'm even more convicted that we come to this low here. So, disrespect that gap. I could double down and say, oh, let me place another order where I would think the draw would be, which is down here. You can make the case. But yeah, the direction for the session I had correct. We'll see if we do get that low. Nope. Failed swing. Failed to sweep and began to reverse. We'll see if that persists or for the day if it ends up going to that low. But let's move on to the next session. Alright, so we have equal lows here. This bearish gap midpoint has been respected. We have 2 more hours here to make the case for something. And what do we have? Okay, so let's look now. Bullish gap midpoint respected. Bearish gap here inversed. We do have a minor bearish gap here as well. That has been respected. So we're kind of in the middle of 2 gaps. Again, this is one of those days that I'm not entirely confident. Why? We didn't go take a high. We failed to take a high. We failed to take a high. Failed to take a low. Failed to take a low. No sweep. In between gaps. Not entirely confident in this one. So this would be one of those days where my bias would be uncertain. I'd go to see if we're getting something in price on the lower time frame or the higher time frames. If I'm limited to just this 1 hour time frame, not very certain. I wouldn't even be willing to tell you where I think price would go. If I had to lean somewhere based on what I'm seeing, I would go to equal lows. Unless we disrespect this gap, then I would head to this high. So I would be waiting here in this. I'd be waiting for something to give here, one of these two. And the equal lows that I mentioned that I would have liked to see did get tapped into. But it wasn't one that I was certain enough to make the case for. Again, heading into the next day. All right, let's look. We have highs here, bearish gap, bearish gap. So what did we do from this point? Okay, took this low, sweep of liquidity here. No bearish gaps formed on the move down. We do have bullish gap here formed on the way up. Midpoint respected. And we have this high here as well. Okay. Heading into this one, what I would say is, again, it's one of those days that I'm not entirely convicted in. It's the market's not making something clear, dumb clear to me. If I had to pick one based on what price action has done, I would lean towards price coming up. But we have left lows behind that I do think could also be revisited. So this would be one of those days where I'd wait for price action to tell me something throughout the session. Because we did take this high. We took that low, midpoint respected, then came take this high. But we kind of went past it. So to me, it's like, okay, maybe there is a willingness to come higher here. Potentially to this high here as well. If I had to pick, but I'm not entirely convicted in this one as well. So I'm not going to pick a side definitely. I would wait for the session to show me something. And like I said, that high that I was leaning towards did get tapped, but it's not one that I'm completely convicted in. So I could still be leaning towards something and get it correct, but I would much rather have it be dumb clear to me. Now to me, we're likely going to head higher. Yeah. See, now this is where it started to make itself clear to me. Now I don't know what the lower time frames were showing and the 4 hour and daily. Like I said, I'm limiting myself to one time frame just to show you guys and simplify it. Using one time frame, how I would analyze. And so yeah, that's just me showing basically where I think the drop would likely be, and that I think I used like 6 or 7 trading days here. dumbing myself down to 1 hour. I am limiting myself to one time frame, one pair. I'm not looking at ES. I'm not comparing them. One time frame, no higher time frame, no lower time frame. Making it as simple to show you guys what I think would likely happen. So I think I got majority of them correct. I think I got one incorrect. And so that's just the basis of what I would look for if I had to simplify it completely and limit myself, just to show you how I would operate. So that is that. And I picked a random point in time, not rehearsed off the top, just to show you guys authentically what I would look for and where I would lean towards. So hope this helps. I hope you all have a great day, and take care, everybody.